Hiya! I'm going to show you how to add details to amigurumis and how to shape faces. So here we have this little bee, and I love making bees. And even though they're already cute just the way they are, I always like to make them a little bit more cute by adding blush. For blush, I'm using this light pink color, and I just attach it to a needle. And then I insert the needle in a random spot, but make sure that you pull it out in the stitch that is in the middle right under the eye. And then you just embroider it one stitch wide. And repeat this on the other side, of course. You can layer this to get like a fuller look like I'm doing, but obviously that's just personal preference. You can do whatever you want. And then bring the yarn back where you started, make a knot, and just get rid of the yarn. And then when you've done the other side, your bee will look like this. Much better, isn't it? Okay, next up are eye details. As you can see, this is my monkey and it looks a bit dull, boring, so we're gonna give it some more details to the eyes. I'm using an ivory color. You can obviously also use white, but I always think white is a little bit harsh, so I prefer ivory over white. Now get your needle and your thread and insert it in some random place in the head, and then pull it out in the stitch right above the eye. And then you insert the needle again in the stitch right under the eye, and you pull it tight. And then make sure that you're trying to bring the yarn to the left side in this case, and if you're doing the other eye, to the right side, so it lays right behind or like next to the eye, and you can make it as tight as you want. Just make sure you don't pull it all the way in. As you could see, I then also bring the yarn to the other side, but you can obviously also do it separate, just whatever you want. And then to finish it off, bring the yarn back to where you started, make a knot, and hide the yarn. Now here's how to shape a face. So you can see this looks a bit odd because the eyes are very far apart, but since we're gonna make like a nose, it's going to be better at the end, I promise you. So for this I'm just using cotton yarn because other yarns don't really work this well because you can't pull them as tight. So you insert your needle, it's some random place, I do like to do it in the middle, and then you get it out like at the bottom of your stitch, but not like in the middle, a little bit more to the right in this case. And then you insert your needle in the stitch right above the eye. For me this is 2 stitches apart, but obviously the size of the eyes matter in this case. And then you bring the yarn to the other eye and you do the same thing there, but you have to make sure that you do this in one go because otherwise like the pulling the yarn won't really work that well. So you pull it to the other side and then insert it in the upper stitch and then also insert it in the bottom stitch, and then you're gonna like pull it a little bit tight. And once you've inserted in the bottom stitch, you're going back to that very first stitch where you started, so on the left side again, because you're doing this entire row like twice. And then when you get to the end of that, you bring the yarn back to where you started to make a knot. But before you make a knot, make sure that you put it as tight as you want, because you can't do any more shaping after this. I did redo a bit because I didn't like it, so before I made it a knot, I took out the cotton yarn and then just did the last row again, and now I do actually like how it looks. So as you can see now, the eyes don't look that far apart anymore, and you've created like a shape to be able to embroider a nose on. And now you can hide the yarn, of course. So next up are the eye details to this little owlet. So insert your needle on a random spot and then take it out on the stitch right above in the middle of your eye, and then insert it again on the side and then one stitch from the eye, so you've got a little bit of distance. Bring it to the other side, to the other eye, and then repeat the same but like backwards, and that's how you make the eyelashes. Then if your thread is long enough like mine, you can bring it up to like where you just created the shape to make the nose, and you'll insert it then in the middle of the eyes and then 2 stitches under it, and you just layer it a couple of times so it gets a little bit thicker. And then once you've done that, you bring the yarn back to where you started, and then you can make a knot and then cut the yarn and hide it. And that's how you shape and embroider details on an owlet.